Well, ladies and gents, hold on to your hats because the British political circus has just rolled out a brand new act and it's a corker. Zara Sultana and Jeremy Corbyn. Yes, that's Jeremy Corbyn, the man who never met a cause too lost for him to champion, have announced they're co-leading a shiny new far-left party. Because apparently what this country really needs is another gang of sanctimonious socialists telling us how to live while they wave their moral superiority like a vegan at a barbecue. Now let's start with Zara Sultana, shall we? The MP for Coventry South, who's been shouting into the void about socialism or barbarism, like she's auditioning for a Che Guevara tribute band. This is the woman who got the boot from Labour, not for anything as mundane as, say, disagreeing on tax policy, but for voting to scrap the two-child benefit cap and generally just being a thorn in Keir Starmer's side. Fair enough, you might say. Sticking to your principles is admirable. But when she goes and hitches her wagon to Jeremy Corbyn, the political equivalent of a flat earth conspiracy theorist who's been wandering the wilderness since Labour decided they'd had enough of his allotment-grown revolution. Principles are one thing, but this is like jumping out of a sinking ship and into a paper boat with a hole in it. And what's this new party all about? Oh, the usual extreme left greatest hits, poverty, inequality, and a foreign policy based on peace, not war. Sounds lovely, doesn't it? Who doesn't want peace? Except, of course, when you dig into the details, it's less about peace and more about picking fights with anyone who disagree with their worldview. Sultana's already out there accusing the government of being active participants in genocide in Gaza, because nothing says serious political movement like throwing around tantrums like that without a shred of nuance. And let's not forget her charming take on Nigel Farage as a billionaire-backed grifter. Pot meets kettle, because last I checked, her new mate Corbyn's been backed by every hard-left union and activist group from here to Havana. And here's the thing, it turns out Corbyn wasn't even consulted before Sultana announced their glorious co-leadership. That's right, folks, she just went ahead and tweeted it out like she's launching a new vegan smoothie brand, leaving poor old Jeremy furious and bewildered, according to some reports. Bewildered, the man who spent 5 years leading Labour into electoral oblivion is bewildered by a bit of bad PR. Oh, the irony. It's like watching two people trying to assemble a flat-pack revolution from IKEA, only to realise they've got the wrong instructions and half the screws are missing. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all for shaking up the system. Westminster's about as broken as a cheap umbrella in a storm. But this isn't a shake-up, it's a tantrum. Sultana and Corbyn think they're going to sweep into power in 2029 with their ragtag band of independent MPs and pro-plasticine campaigners promising to fix poverty and inequality while the rest of us applaud their moral purity. Good luck with that. The last time Corbyn tried leading a party, Labour got obliterated and he ended up as an independent MP for Islington North, preaching to the choir in constituencies with more kebab shops than common sense. And let's talk about that independent alliance they're building from this. 5 MPs, including Shaukat Adam, Ayub Khan, Adnan Hussain and Iqbal Mohammed, names you've probably never heard of unless you're glued to the political gossip pages. They're all independents who beat Labour last year, mostly in riding the wave of pro-Gaza sentiment in areas with large Muslim populations. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with standing up for what you believe in, but when your entire political strategy hinges on one issue, and an issue that's abroad and nothing to do with this country or your constituents, you're not building a party, you're building a protest group, and protest groups don't win elections. They just make a lot of noise before fizzing out like a damp firework. The polls aren't exactly singing their praises either. Maureen Coleman reckons a Corbyn-led party might scrape 10% of the vote, siphoning off a bit from Labour and the Greens. That's not a revolution, that's a rounding error. Meanwhile, Reform UK is out there with Nigel Farage, who Sultana calls a grifter, but who's somehow leading the polls because, surprise, surprise, people are fed up with the same old Westminster waffle. And instead of addressing that, Sultana and Corbyn are doubling down on the kind of rhetoric that makes the average voter run for the hills. Socialism or barbarism? Come on, Zara, this isn't a a dystopian novel. It's British politics. The choice isn't between socialism and barbarism. It's between paying your bills and not. So here's the truth. This new party is already a mess. Corbyn's not even sure he wants to be leader because apparently he's allergic to anything resembling actual responsibility. Sultana's jumping the gun, announcing things without checking with a supposed co-leader, and the rest of their alliance is probably wondering what they've signed up for. It's like watching a bunch of sixth formers trying to organise a school disco only to realise they've booked the wrong venue and forgotten the music. So what's the end game here then? Well, a glorious socialist utopia where billionaires are banished and everyone lives in perfect harmony, or just another splinter group that'll burn out faster than a cheap candle, leaving Labour to pick up the pieces and reform to keep laughing all the way to the ballot box? My money's on the latter, because if there's one thing they've learned from Corbyn's track record, is that he's got a knack for turning enthusiasm into embarrassment. And Sultana, she's young, she's passionate, she's articulate, but she's betting on the wrong horse. This isn't a new dawn, folks. It's a rerun of a show we've all seen before, and it's about as exciting as a wet tea bag. And there you go. What do you reckon? Please let me know in the comments. I'm Paz49. Thanks for watching. Please do subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you at the next video. Roger Trout.